Okay, let's be honest. We live in a world that is completely obsessed with speed, right? But what if I told you the real secret to winning isn't about moving faster at all, but about deliberately moving slower? Yeah, it's a paradox that kind of messes with everything we think we know about success. So let's unpack that.
I mean, this desire for speed, it's literally everywhere. It really starts with our biggest ambitions. We're all told to build wealth, and there's this unspoken rule, isn't there? You have to do it as fast as you possibly can.
And it doesn't stop there. It's totally in our social goals too. You see these overnight sensations, right? The viral stars, and you can't help but think, okay, that's the path. The goal isn't just success anymore. It's about getting that recognition, like right now, immediately.
And you know, this mindset, it applies to everything. I'm talking fitness, learning a new skill, building a business. The demand is always the same. We want the result, and we want it now. No waiting.
So, this brings us to the big question, the real paradox here. If everyone is sprinting, how is it that so often the person who's just moving at that steady, deliberate pace ends up winning? It just doesn't seem to make sense, right?
Well, to figure this out, we're going to look to a pretty unlikely hero for today's explainer. The turtle. Yeah, the turtle. Its whole philosophy is basically a masterclass in what it actually means to make real, lasting progress.
And the turtle strategy? It's so simple, it's brilliant. Seriously, it's not about some complex, fancy tactics. It's all about managing its energy, never changing its path, and using its greatest weapon, just pure, powerful endurance.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. In nature, it's not the fastest that survives, it's the most stable. Nature doesn't really reward that frantic, chaotic speed. No, it rewards stability. Just think about that. The ability to handle challenges and just keep going. That is a way bigger advantage than a quick burst of speed that fizzles out.
Okay, so let's put the turtle's wisdom on one side and our own typical approach on the other, because this is where we start to uncover what might just be the great human mistake when it comes to getting what we want. We love speed. I mean, we're obsessed with it. We celebrate it, we chase after it. But here's the trap. When you have speed without a real system to back it up, it doesn't get you to the finish line. It just leads straight to one place: burnout.
And when you really look at it, the two mindsets are just worlds apart. The turtle? It's all about the marathon. It's fueled by consistency, and that builds real endurance. But us, we tend to treat everything like a series of short sprints. And what's our fuel? Motivation. Which, is great until it's not. When that motivation runs out, so do we. And the end result, almost every time, is burnout.
All right, so the philosophy makes sense, right? The turtle's way sounds pretty smart, but how do we actually use this wisdom in our own lives? Let's get practical and break down what that strategy actually looks like.
So here it is, the long game strategy in 3 key parts. First, a little bit every single day. That's it. Just focus on small, consistent progress. Second, emotional stability. This one's huge. Don't freak out when things dip, and don't get wildly overconfident when they spike. And number 3, have an unwavering strategy. Make a solid plan and actually stick to it, instead of flip-flopping every time you read a new article.
You know, it's kind of like this. Building great wealth isn't about that one lucky genius stock pick. Nope, it's about decades of just steady contributions. That's the real magic of compounding. And this is so crucial. Big, life-changing results, they almost never come from one single heroic moment. They're built on thousands of tiny, seemingly insignificant actions that just add up and up and up over time.
Okay, so this brings us to a point where we got to turn the mirror on ourselves for a second. It's time to really challenge a belief that so many of us have about our own progress. And it's kind of a tough question, so get ready.
I want you to think about some area in your life right now where you feel stuck, like you're not making progress. The story you're probably telling yourself is something like, I'm just too slow at this. But is that really what's going on?
Or, and be honest with yourself here, is the real problem something else? Is it possible you're not actually slow, you're just inconsistent? You start something, then you stop. You change your whole plan. You get a little discouraged and take a week off, then 2. See, that's not a speed problem. That's a consistency problem.
And honestly, if you take away only one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. Most people do not fail because they are slow. They fail because they stop. The real enemy of progress is rarely the pace. It's the constant starting and stopping.
So, what's the secret of the turtle all boiled down? It's basically permission to move slowly. But there's one huge condition. You just don't stop. Ever. You commit to not making emotional decisions, and you make a conscious choice to play the long game, even when everyone around you is completely obsessed with the short one.
I really want you to think about this reframe. Seriously, the next time you feel that frustration, that feeling of, I'm moving so slowly, just stop and ask yourself, am I actually falling behind? Or am I just building a sustainable victory? Am I building something that's actually meant to last?
And that really is the ultimate paradox, isn't it? In a world that screams for instant results, maybe the greatest advantage you can have is the quiet, totally unglamorous skill of just being patient. So the real question isn't about how fast you can go. It's, do you have the patience for the long game?